Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Fantasy Coffee Break, your number one source for quick fantasy information to get you ready to dominate your league week in and week out. I'm your host, Cody Capola, here as always with Conan Gruen and Aaron Hale. Today, we're going to be looking at your week one streaming options for the tight end position. Now, we'll be honest, all of us here kind of hate streaming tight end. It's still a dumpster fire. This year, we do have a lot more options. But I think when it shakes out, we're still going to be looking at the past couple of years of the upper elite tier and then more of the touchdown dependent, maybe an injury will let somebody sneak in. As we look at the tight end streamers, a couple things that we do want to point out, we're going to be looking for positive matchups. Last year, the Arizona Cardinals were the matchup to play against, but we don't actually know coming into the season how these defenses are going to gel and how some of these offseason additions are going to work. Cardinals specifically, maybe rookie Isaiah Simmons is actually going to make the difference and they can finally stop a tight end once. Maybe. We're still going to be looking for touchdown dependent guys who have an opportunity to move into market share that they may not have had previously. So Aaron's going to start us off here, and after you, buddy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My first person that we're going to talk about is going to be Blake Jarwin. Blake Jarwin of the Dallas Cowboys going against the Rams. But happen to have one of the bottom 10 defenses when it comes to guarding the tight end position. Also, last year against the Rams, they actually had 8 targets to the tight end. Dak Prescott did. And also, Jason Witten is gone. And Jason Witten had 84 targets last year. So that's a lot of targets that's vacant. A lot of people say they go to CD, but Randall Cobb's targets is going to go to CD as well. So you got to kind of spread those out evenly. Looks like 125 targets went to tight ends last year for the Cowboys, which happened to be top 5. So I think that's a great play, not only for just the week, for the year. I mean, it's a good stash play just to see how that turns out. Because if he gets upwards of 90 targets and above, I mean, he's creeping into that top 10 zone. So just keep an eye out on Blake Jarwin. And next we have Conan. Go ahead, Conan.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Blake Jarwin pick. I think if you're going to give that many targets to Witten and you give them to Blake, he's just going to do more with them.
Right.
So,
right.
You know, Witten's just going to catch it. Exactly.
Right.
Witten's going to catch it and he's going to drop. You know, he's the reliable. He's going to pick up those extra a couple of yards for you. But Blake can actually break a couple through maybe. So he has the opportunity. So I like that pick. But I'm going to go with Dallas Goedert here. And might be wild because he's not even the top tight end on his team. But if you look at last year, obviously they had a very depleted receiving core. But he was top 10 in among tight ends in targets, receptions, yardage, touchdowns, and even was a top 10 fantasy tight end. So obviously he's not even the top option in the tight end room on his team. And he's the second tight end on that team. But that actually right now basically makes him last year, it made him the second option on the team because they had no one else to throw to besides Zach Ertz and him. And going into this year, I'm not expecting a 14% market share like he had last year among the targets. But even if that goes down to, 10, 11, 12, low teens, that's still going to place him among the league lead in target share. And again, we talked about on an earlier episode, the Eagles are playing the Washington football team. And obviously they are known as one of the worst teams and one of the worst defenses in the league. They do have an improved defense, but it's basically, it's a lock to be one of the better, one of the easier teams to take advantage of on the offensive end. So I think that's a great pick for this week one matchup, especially with no Rager and Alshon week one. And now who do you got for us, Cody?
Yeah, about to say improved does not necessarily mean good. I think
Exactly.
Washington has a lot of room to grow and can still probably be one of those bottom 5, bottom 10 teams. Yep. I love it. I think Goedert has a huge opportunity. And we haven't really talked about Dynasty all that much, but with some of the recent news about Ertz and his contract situation, if Ertz leaves, Goedert has, top 5 upside and the ability to walk into one of the best opportunities in the league. And still only 25 years old. So I love it. My guy here is actually Chris Herndon. So Chris Herndon was kind of that hype pick last year coming into the New York Jets offense. And unfortunately, injuries, Adam Case and a little bit of Sam Darnold injury just meant that it wasn't meant to be. But hyper athletic guy, 6'4", 253 pounds. And we have to remember what that offense is. Rashad Perryman is beat up. Mims is beat up. Who else do they have? Right now, it's Jamison Crowder, Le'Veon Bell, who apparently Adam Gase just hates with a fury, and that's it. I mean, there's no other options there. He's by far the best weapon that they have in the red zone, especially early on. And I think that if we're going to be banking on a lower-owned guy to be able to come up with some touchdown upside, he just is the glaring option to be able to pull from. And that team isn't necessarily going to make leaps and bounds in terms of their receiving core. They are who they are. If Herndon pops early, especially with a young quarterback in Sam Darnold, he has a true opportunity to be one of his favorite targets and one of his favorite red zone options for the rest of the year. So like we always talk about with streamers, if you can find somebody who's going to be your guy for the whole year, and Blake Jarwin, Dallas Goedert, and Chris Herndon all have that available, I think we're in a good place. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you were able to pick up one of these tight ends, or let's actually be honest, hopefully you got Kittle or Kelsey or Zach Ertz.
All right. Mark Andrews.
Yep, and Mark Andrews. Sorry, I did leave that one out. And also, do you know what? We're going to throw Darren Waller back in there too. People don't end up talking about him enough, especially with Tyrell going down. I think we have legitimate tight ends and a bunch of question marks. But if you do have to go and scrape up the waiver wire, these are some of your best options. So
for sure.
Thank you again, guys, and best of luck in week 1.